Hello. I know that I have a lot of different content on a lot of different mediums kind of coming out. We've got the YouTube channel. I've got a lot of stuff that goes live on Instagram. I've got now a new website, and I have the podcast. We also launch merch on a different site, just different things. And a lot of times people on the platforms don't tend to cross over. YouTube people like to watch YouTube videos. Instagram people just watch stories. Podcast people listen to podcasts. So one of my most special things to me is this podcast, and it has blown up, and it's done so amazing, and we're putting so much work into it and getting just the best guests and content that we possibly can. So what I wanted to do on today's video is I wanted to introduce the podcast, and I wanted to show you the behind the scenes of these past two episodes. So I've got one with my closest friend Shawn, Shawn Johnson. She was an Olympic gymnast, gold medalist, has this amazing story and lesson. And then Dave Ramsey is like financial guru, everything. His daughter Rachel Cruze, who is also a financial guru, came on. I was thinking, I was like, man, maybe I should have Dave Ramsey. And then I was like, no, his daughter is going to be able to relate to my following so much more. She has such amazing content, and it was such an amazing conversation just about financial freedom and how it can really just free you and really open up your life. So I wanted to today bring you behind the scenes of the podcast. So it's called Living Fully with Mallory Ervin. You can literally listen to it anywhere. Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere you can listen to podcasts. You can find my podcast. And you can just type that in. It would mean so much if you would subscribe and leave a review to it. But I just wanted, just in case you haven't branched from YouTube and listened to it yet, I wanted to give you on the medium that you like, if you like YouTube videos, I want to give you a little behind the scenes and show you guys just a little bit of what it's all about. So like I said, these are the last couple that have gone live. I do a lot by myself. I do some with Kyle, I do some with my dad. We're now on the 12th episode or so. So we're putting a lot of work into this, and we really love doing it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and this little sneak peek of these last two podcasts. It is? Oh. Battery is fully charged. As are we. Just kidding. We're actually at about 50% because we're both growing humans.
Yeah.
Okay. So Shawn and I are doing a podcast today.
Yes.
And I'm just going to record a little bit of it for, of course, someone's calling me off. I have New York Times best-selling author, podcaster, host of the Rachel Cruze show. I've just given away who it is. Rachel Cruze. She is also, I really like this fact about her too. She is the daughter of Dave Ramsey. I'm sure that you guys have heard of Dave Ramsey. He's helped so many people live their lives to the fullest by helping them get control of their finances and, everything else. And Rachel is just, she's pretty amazing herself. So,
Mallory.
We're actually both sitting here
holding our bellies
in our third trimester of pregnancy. So either of us seem a little out of breath, or if you get alarmed, it's just one of us that's going into labor. So don't.
That's right. The water may break. Who knows?
I am super excited today to have a very special guest on my show. I have Olympic gold medalist, Dancing with the Star champion. I just asked her stats because you know what I know her as is friend of 8 years or 6 years, however long it's been.
It's been a while.
Shawn Johnson.
Money is usually the symptom of other problems.
Yes, agreed.
And the overspending or the avoidance, whatever that problem is that you have with your money, there's usually deeper rooted issues. And so when you start to actually gain traction with your money, some of those unveil, and I believe you end up becoming just a healthier person overall because those issues kind of come to the surface. You say, okay, so why am I doing this?
Yes.
What is, and you ask yourself the why. Yeah. It's powerful. It really is.
Well, because it's not about the money. I say this, I have been flat broke before, and I've done well. And I feel like when you get to the point where you feel comfortable, you're able to have a savings, there's not much of a difference between that and a huge amount of excess, or to me and my own life.
Yeah.
I feel like once you can just get control of that, it frees your mind up. I love it when you say too, debt and not being financially aware, it robs you of your contentment. It robs you of so much joy in other aspects of your life. And I so believe that.
Yeah.
The Olympics are a little bit different than the trials and tribulations that we have in life that we are holding expectations about. But still.
Not really.
Not really.
No. I think it's the same. I feel like when I talk to a lot of college kids, and all the speeches that you would go to were at colleges.
Yeah.
But I feel like we live in a world and in a society where people put so much expectation and pressure on you to succeed. Like you see moms, that's going to be us, taking their 3-year-olds into a gymnastics class and they're like, this is going to be the next Olympian. Like, what do I need to do to raise an Olympian? And it's like, it doesn't work that way. And you see people being pressured in college to become orthopedic surgeons or doctors or the highest level degree that they can, or you see people being pressured to be president of their company or CEO. People are not content with just someone being happy. They want to see you succeed.
Amen to that.
With such expectation comes so much pressure. I feel like we lose so easily the reason why we're doing things.
Yeah.
And we do it to like please other people instead of just doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm a spender at heart, so yeah, you naturally
Cheers to that.
Cheers to our waters.
Cheers to
We'll
that.
do some stamps once we can. I am. You're either kind of naturally a saver or spender, just how you're wired, your personality. But so for me, I've always been a spender. Like even as a little kid, I would have like 50 cents and like go in the grocery aisle. I'd be like, okay, can I buy gum? Like I just like whatever it was. I'm like I just enjoy. I enjoy spending money. And I'm also more of a free spirit. So we always say with finances, you're either kind of a nerd, like you love the control, you have spreadsheets, you love seeing the bills, you have your organization in place, or you're more of a carefree spirit where you're like, listen, it's all gonna work out, it's fine. And so I'm that. So I'm a spender and a free spirit.
Yes.
And so for so long I hated the word budget, I hated the idea of budgeting. I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so many numbers and so much organization and I have to keep up with like stuff, like oh my God. And I was like, and you can't have fun, because every time I heard the word budget, it was like, oh yeah, you can't buy that, it's not in the budget, or we can't go on vacation, it's not in the budget.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm like, man, people on budgets are not fun people. Like, that's your life. I'm like, I don't want to live that. I'm sorry, I want to enjoy it.
I feel like a lot of times we put so much weight into one thing and we make it feel like it's going to make everything in life better.
Yeah.
And we expect, like, as soon as we reach that moment, as soon as we make that much money, as soon as we buy that type of house,
Marry that person.
we're going to be happy.
Yeah.
And life is going to be fulfilled. And it's not. It truly isn't.
Yeah.
And
It's so true.
the transition was, like we were talking about this earlier, the transition was really hard too, because in gymnastics, it's ingrained in you that you're striving for perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scoring system is even like the perfect 10.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's a perfect 10 and it's a perfectionism mentality based off of a subjective score.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how a judge thinks you look and it's how they like your smile and your hair and your leotard and your performance. And they can deduct or criticize you based off of that.
Based off of looks.
Literally based off of looks.
Yeah, I didn't really realize that was part of gymnastics. It's part of everything in life, I feel like, unfortunately, but that's really interesting. Yeah.
It's part of every life.
Yeah.
Everyday life.
Like I work too hard, I sit in too much traffic, I deal with a jerky boss to have nothing to show for my life.
Wow.
And so when you get to that point, you say, okay, I've had it. That's when you realize that debt is a thief. It not only steals your income from you.
I love that.
Yeah, it steals your peace of mind and it steals your sleep at night. And when you don't owe anyone anything, like if you do have debt, which I'm sure majority of you do, because again, that's so normal. Like if you could just imagine not having payments. Like what could you do with your income if you didn't have payments? And so the freedom that comes from it, but you have to get to that place personally and say, okay, I'm willing to take the challenge. And so the next step would be to get $1,000 as an emergency fund. So save. Start saving where you are because you want this baby emergency fund because when you start getting out of debt, if something happens, and something probably will, that's life.
Okay.
You know, your tire's going to go flat, a kid's going to get sick. Instead of just going back into debt, charging it back on the credit card, you have savings in the bank. So
wow,
get that
what an
$1,000.
interesting concept. Because
Spending
these people
money,
are like, what?
Yeah, savings.
But wouldn't you tell me to pay my debt off first? No, you tell. I love that though.
Yes, so get that small baby emergency fund and then start getting out of debt. So the most effective way to get out of debt is listing out all of your debt, smallest amount to largest amount, regardless of the interest rate. So don't focus on the interest rate, which a lot of people say.
Very interesting.
Well, mathematically, you should.
Yeah. how do you deal with when you put something like that out there? Like, you're saying, okay, I was a perfectionist, I'm not a perfectionist, let me be vulnerable, and then people
rip you apart.
tear you apart in the media that don't even know you. I feel like you probably have some advice, because so many people deal with just everyday haters.
Oh, yeah.
We do, of course, in this space. I feel like I've been pretty lucky. I don't have too many people, I feel like, that have this backlash, but I do get that sometimes, and I know you guys do too. But people at their work, somebody just doesn't like them and is just talking about them at the dang water cooler, and you're like, well, why don't you like me? You don't even know me. Mm-hmm. Or someone's talking about your child, like at a school, or one of your friends just like keeps bashing you to the other friends. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you just ignore it? Do you just have a therapist on call all the time? Do you just...
I think first you have to understand it. You have to understand that, I think for both of us, given our experiences in life, given our emotional roller coasters, our ups and downs, the lows that we hit, we've talked about this before, but I went into like depression after the Olympics because I didn't know how not to be perfect and how to like maintain this image. And because I've gone through that, I've gone through some probably uglier times in my life where I probably wasn't nice to people, and I would lash out and I would judge. And anymore, you first have to ask yourself, what was your intention with whatever it is that the haters are latching onto? So if you have a good intention, if you didn't mean to like offend anyone, if you didn't mean to cause these haters, you have to know that in your heart, and you have to hang on to that. And then 2, you have to ask yourself, and almost not have pity, but just understanding for that person must be hurting.
And I would say for the student that's in college, maybe you're a sophomore, and you're looking and say, okay, well, I was gonna take 2 more years out of loans. I mean, I'm all about the uncomfortable, and I'm all about the weird, because I don't want to be normal. We've already stated like normal's broke and pictures. I'm like, if that's normal, I don't want to be that. And so to look ahead and say, okay, what do I want with my life? Like, are you in an out-of-state school that you can't afford? Because when you step over a state line, you're paying 3 times as much.
Absolutely.
And if you have the money or you have scholarships, go for it. Like, I'm not mad at private colleges or out-of-state universities. Like, do it.
But if you might, because you like the football team.
That's right. Yes.
Come on, watch them on TV.
I know. It is. It's like we've been bought into this line, like the college experience. And yes, you want to have fun in college. I'm not like Debbie Downer. But you don't want it to cost you $90,000.
And you don't want it to control then the rest of your life.
And it does.
4 years, 5 years, whatever. But if it's putting a cloud over your life when you're out there in the real world for 15 years,
we know this because we're out of it. But like, how many people are still paying off their loans into their 30s? And
75% of my friends, I would say.
And no one's excited about it. So you college students, hear us 10 years ahead of you. Like, no one is like, yes, I'm so glad I went to that private college no one's ever heard of to get a degree that I'm not even using. Like,
University of the South. What was your degree?
Communications. So
Okay,
I actually sort of using one.
Even like a mom off the street that's trying to run a half marathon, your kids aren't going to be like, oh, Mom, it's your training day.
No.
Let us give you a break today. It's like all those challenges you have to deal with, and that's interesting. I like that inside scoop. Yeah, we won't give you the down and dirty, real inside scoop of some parts of it. You got to compete in the Olympics to know. You guys liked that little behind the scenes of the podcast. Like I said, I really loved and was motivated myself by those 2 episodes. So I just want to show just that little sneak peek. Let us know too if you like the format of us showing these podcasts on YouTube videos also, or clips. Let us know. Our comments still keep getting disabled, so hopefully there'll be comments on this. If not, you can leave me a message on Instagram or on any other platform. So we'll link the podcast below. It would mean so much if you guys would subscribe. And then that way you're going to see when the new podcasts come out and what they're called, see if you want to listen to them. So they come out every morning at 6 a.m., every Monday morning. Sorry, not every morning. That would be a lot of work. Every Monday morning at 6 a.m., there will be a new podcast. And they really range on so many different topics, from like parenting to finance to relationships to living your best life and living fully. Just so many different things. Living fully and just making the most out of this one life that you have. I hope you guys will check it out, especially if you haven't checked it out. Check it out and give it a chance. And if you guys leave reviews, that really, really helps the podcast to do well. So thanks so much for watching.